Welcome to Around the Well, the official podcast of the town of Wellington. I am Jerry Martin, your host and the communications specialist for the town of Wellington. Thank you for supporting this second episode of Around the Well as we continue to pursue our goal of providing a space for the discussion of issues that impact our town and our community here in Wellington. For this episode, we are focusing on the events and activities Wellington residents have to look forward to this summer. Before we go any further, though, we should note that the next episode of Around the Well will be dedicated to Wellington's July 4th community celebration. The event, which is our biggest annual event of the year, consists of a parade, a festival, live music, and fireworks. That episode is coming in late May or early June. This episode is dedicated to exploring the many opportunities offered during the summer by our town's public library, as well as our Parks and Recreation department. We start that exploration with a conversation featuring our library director and one of our recreation coordinators. We are joined for this episode by Wellington Public Library Director Ross LaGenese, as well as Emma Adams, who is a recreation coordinator with Wellington's Parks and Recreation Department. First of all, thank you both for being here today. I look forward to finding out more about what we have going on this summer in Wellington, but before that, as we have kind of dived into the second episode of Around the Well, we want to help Wellington residents learn a little more about the people who work for their town. So Emma, we'll kind of start with you. How long have you been with the town, and how did you find your way to the Parks and Recreation Department?
Yeah, so I've been with the town for a little bit over a year now, and I've been within the northern Colorado area for a little bit over 3 years. We actually moved this way back out here to be closer to the mountains and more recreational opportunities. My background is mainly in outdoor recreation, and I recently was just kind of looking for a role where I could have more tangible and inclusive recreational opportunities. So that's how I found Wellington, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Awesome. And what are the things that you are passionate about personally that align with your job as a recreation coordinator?
Yeah, so I'm pretty passionate about creating inclusive recreational experiences. I've always loved leading others in the outdoors, whether it's within rock climbing or skiing. And it's something really special to see someone grow their confidence in whatever they're doing, whether that's playing sports or, hiking their first, 14 or whatever it is. Within this position that I'm in now, I see it a lot within our youth programs, and it's just a really rewarding thing to just see kids come out of their shell and gain that confidence. And as a recreation coordinator now, I do get to create and improve programs that kind of leave a more memorable experience for everybody, no matter what the age is. And I think that really aligns with my passions and just something I'm really into right now.
Cool. And what's your favorite part about Wellington?
I would say my favorite part about Wellington, this was like a trickier question to answer because I really wasn't sure if I wanted to do a full bubble, but I think it really came down to those that we work with. We're pretty lucky to have a really passionate and hardworking team within the town of Wellington, and it's really refreshing to be part of something where everyone really does come together and work as a team.
Very cool. Ross, you're about to get the very same questions. How long have you been with the town, and how did you find your way to the Wellington Public Library?
It's kind of a convoluted story. I've been with the town now for about, I think I'm going on 4.5 years. I grew up in Fort Collins. I'm a Fort Collins native. And during the COVID issues, I was kind of at home with the kids and they were going to school virtually. And I kind of needed something to get out of the house for a little bit. So I started volunteering at the library. And I do have permission, Mary, our matriarch in the library. I said, what can I do here? And she said, get us a new circulation desk. Look at what we have. And so I kind of worked with some people that I knew in northern Colorado and got a new circulation desk for $0, had it all donated. So then after all that, I was kind of asked there was a clerk position. And I thought, I could do this. So I came in at about the second interview. I think it was about the third interview. I started to think, this is a lot of interviews for a part-time clerk position, and then they kind of threw at me that they wanted me to be director with my background. It wasn't a typical, I don't have a library science degree. but I have a background in business and teaching, so they offered me the position.
And what are the things you are passionate about that align with your job as library director?
I've been thinking about this question. The public library has kind of become the community hub. We're like the one department that's consistently open to the public. So we are engaged with our community on a daily basis. So my favorite part is really connecting with the town as a whole and Northern Colorado. You know, we have people coming from Northern Fort Collins. So just getting to know people and their stories. I do spend a lot of time chit-chatting with people. So we're very, very close to everybody that comes in the library. We know their stories. So that matters a lot to me.
Great. And what's your favorite part about Wellington?
Oh, I think maybe I kind of jumped ahead, huh? It is the community. It's came in and we rebranded. We, our kind of mantra is community, connection, and curiosity. And so we fulfill those every single day. And even meeting new people, and within an hour we're best of friends, and I know everything about their lives, and we can provide access and resources for them. So it's being a part of a community. People knowing you everywhere you go. Even in my PJs at the grocery store, people know.
Thank you both for answering a few personal questions. Now we'll move on to what Wellington residents have to look forward to this summer from the library and the Parks and Recreation Department. Ross, let's start with the library. You are all about to kick off the summer reading program, which, if I'm not mistaken, is your biggest program of the year. Is that correct?
That is. I mean, it's our biggest consistent program. It runs for a couple months. We know that if students don't continue with their literacy over the summer, they can drop a full grade level. And so we really try to fill that gap and make sure that students and kids and adults have access to literacy. So we're really excited about this year's summer reading program. We are making sure that we support our local businesses. So we're bringing quite a few of our summer reading program events down to Centennial Park. So it's closer to the local businesses. We're very excited. We have developed a collaboration with KRFC in Fort Collins. So we are launching our lyrical literacy program. They're all singer-songwriters that are going to come out and perform during the Main Street markets on Friday nights. These are masters at language, and so it really, really demonstrates how important literacy is. The kids can, enjoy watching people use literacy as a profession. So we're really excited about that. It will probably lead into a winter music series with KRFC. And we just want to make sure we're closer to local businesses. We also, in the past, we've had businesses sponsor us, and it's kind of some tricky financial times right now. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is we have really looked for a community partner, and this is a good time to kind of announce the Human Being is going to be our community partner.
Very cool.
And so they are supplying us with all of our summer reading program prizes, free drink tickets. So it's a great collaboration. It's a local business. So make sure that you check out our website, follow us on Instagram for all the performers and all the different events that we have.
Was there a theme for this year's summer reading program?
There is. It's called Color Your World. So it's very kind of artistic. It's recognizing different cultures throughout the world. And so we always try to align our events and our programming around kind of the theme. But it's really all about exploration, kind of exploring, kind of finding things that satiate your curiosity. So we're really excited about this year's programming.
What do participants do in the reading program, and how can they sign up for it?
So this year it kind of worked out. It's all twos. So May 2nd is registration opens. We have a big launch event that we do every year. We try to honor our traditions, and we have Once Upon a Field Day. We collaborate with Parks and Rec on that one. It's right next to the library. It's at Library Park, so you can come and play games. We can register you there. You can register at the library. You can call us. We also, last year, we started a mobile app. And this year we've expanded our services with the mobile app. So if you are traveling over the summer, you can still participate in the program. It's all on your phone. You can do your bingo cards. You can get your prizes. So the program then starts June 2nd, and then it officially ends August 2nd. So just, Wellington, remember the twos. We got May, June, and August.
All right. And are there any events associated with the summer reading program?
We do have a lot of events. Like I said, we're collaborating with KRFC. We have the Division of Parks and Wildlife coming out to kind of talk about native wildlife and fisheries and what they do. We have drummers that are coming. We've learned we like a lot of noise. I know it's a library. I think people in Wellington know we're a noisy library. Kids are excited. There's always something happening at the library. We also continue with our art classes. During the program, we have Denver Museum of Nature and Science coming up to do some STEM programming. And then we always have our infamous, once again, tradition. We have our infamous closer, which is the foam party, where kids and parents get to play in foam with music. And we really try to make sure that the summer reading program is fun. It's not work. It's not homework. It's just a good time. And we have gotten feedback from schools that the participants, their literacy does not drop. So that's vital to us.
That's great. And that kind of answers my next question, which is about why summer reading programs are so prolific. It seems like every library I've ever heard of has had a summer reading program. So I think that makes sense, kind of keeping those reading levels up during the summer. I think one of the unique parts about your program here is that it's designed for all ages. So what would you say to an adult who doesn't necessarily have to worry about keeping skills up over the summer? Why would you encourage them to participate?
Absolutely. Some of our largest growth has been with the adults. And we always try to make sure, I've tried to make sure that we have adult prizes. They might not want a squishy or a fidget spinner or, so we do have adult prizes. As a former teacher, children who witness their parents or caregivers or adults reading actually benefits literacy. So really kind of getting that message out there that, reading with your kids or exposing them or just having them even see you do it is vital to reading literacy levels. So it's a great time. Like I said, adults get their own prizes. So we do try to do the full spectrum. Okay. And this is grandparents. We work with the senior center. We have them do things. So it's just good that everybody is accessing information and having fun.
Is there anything else about the summer reading program you want Wellington residents to know about?
That it's a great time, and you better do it. Do it because it's free. It's what we work on starting in January. These events and stuff, they do take a lot of coordination, a lot of timing, a lot of work, and it's just actually a really good time. We really enjoy the summer reading program. Another thing that people sometimes kind of forget is these events really do create connection. They get people out. They get people out of their zone. It's meeting your neighbors. It's meeting people that you may not have been exposed to before. So it's just a good community event.
Cool. And you covered some of this already as well. The summer reading program is a big part of what you guys do, but it's not obviously all you do. You have a lot of other events going on. So you talked a little bit about the taiko drummers and the music series. Any other events you guys have going on that you want to talk about?
We always continue, we continue with our consistent, story time still occurs. We also have role-playing games. We have art classes, and we've really kind of increased the accessibility to art classes. I've connected with the Department of Health and Human Services in Larimer County and with mental health services. These are really good avenues for people to get out, not feel so isolated. So we continue with our regular programming, and then the summer reading program is on top of that. Okay,
great. And I know that there are some events that Ross, you and Emma, both your crews kind of put on together. Can you guys talk a little bit about some of those joint offerings that you have for the summer?
Yeah, for sure. I will mention that we collaborate with our annual inclusive, adaptive, and accessible event called Night Beyond Limits. This past year was pretty fun, or not past year, most recent. Back in February was pretty fun because we got a new silent disco set up. So everyone was dancing all night. Everyone had headphones on, and there's like 3 different stations. So it was a lot of fun to kind of just see all the different dance moves depending on what jams were happening. And then we also brought out our new movie screen. So we were able to show Sing at the event. Along with this event, we also have video games that we put on, and then Summer, who works over at the library, she does an amazing job with arts and crafts. So I think it was Summer and Mary, they crushed it with arts and crafts this year. So it was pretty cool to see kind of the accessible tools that they bring out to allow people to paint and kind of hang out. Also within those events, we do like a sensory room. So I don't know if I mentioned, but this is at the Boys and Girls Club. So we kind of have like multiple rooms where everyone can go and kind of get their cup filled. So it's a pretty fun event that we collaborate with the library, and we bring out our games. And do you want to talk about Once Upon a Field Day?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of already touched on that.
Yeah.
We talk between the departments often about how easily the collaboration is. It's very important, I think, to exercise your body and your mind. It's health and wellness, so our departments collaborate very well together and support one another. The Once Upon a Field Day is just kind of turned into like a big launch event for the summer. It's after school is out, so all the kids can come play. We usually have food trucks, Kona Ice. I think Glacier Ice Cream is coming this year.
Oh.
Yeah. We're always trying new things. But it's just a good time. And, Emma talks about, I think both departments really, really lean into that term access and making sure that everybody has access, no matter where you come from. In the library, we have, a term that we use, come as you are. So providing the access for our community, it's a smaller community, and I think these things are really, really successful, and people look forward to them. I mean, we start getting questions in February, like, you're still having this one, you're still having that. Oh, we really enjoyed this last year. Are you going to do that? And, so there's always buzz. I do love doing the Night Beyond Limits. It's fun to see people that maybe you don't see at every single event for a variety of reasons. Maybe there's not access to a certain place. This is a place that they can come and, as I just said, come as you are. And they are adored, they are honored, and it's a lot of fun. The silent disco this year was great to watch, and we were trying to figure out, like, what style of music are they listening to by their dance moves. I think that was the most popular. The kids kept gravitating to it. And then we had 2 DJs that stepped in, 2 young kids. So that's fun to see because they feel comfortable enough to take charge, to take risks. Like, hey, I want a DJ. And then they took over. And it's just great to watch. So it's very fulfilling. Goes back to that whole, like, being part of the community and actually being a part of the community. So
it's pretty fulfilling. The events, both of them, kind of we're able to just bring out all of our toys, and I think it just kind of brings everybody together. And I think staff and our volunteers have a lot of fun. Even if we don't get big turnouts, it's like, this was successful because we all had a great time.
And we get to play with the toys too.
Awesome. Moving our focus to Parks and Recreation, Emma, I know your team has been gearing up for one of your busiest times of the year with all the summer sports and activities that go on. But before we get to that, you also have the introduction of a brand new Movies in the Park series this summer, which is very exciting. Can you talk a little bit about how that series came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. We're pretty stoked to launch our new Movies in the Park series. We have a lot on the agenda coming up for this summer and going into the fall. This idea was first brought forward by our Pros Board about 1.5 years ago, and it's been really exciting to kind of see everybody get all the coordinating of this to happen. The last time we've had Movies in the Park was back in the summer of 2019. So it's been a little bit.
That was before both of our times.
Yeah. So, and we don't even know how they used to, like, move it around or, like, how they would set it up. We're not sure about those logistics, but the equipment that we've invested in basically allows us to go from park to park, put it wherever we want to put it, which is really cool. And with this Movies in the Park series that we're bringing in, it ties in with our town strategic plan, specifically the goal to cultivate community spaces. We saw this as a great opportunity to create fun, family-friendly ways for people to gather and connect within different parts of our town. Sometimes we kind of see with certain events that we might miss people who live on the other side of the highway. So it's something really cool to be able to just kind of go where we want. With that being said, we will try to reach all the corners of town over summer and into the fall, but we're pretty stoked for this to become a more meaningful new tradition for the town of Wellington.
Very cool. And I know we're still kind of waiting on movie titles with licensing. That can be kind of a thing. But do we know where and when screenings are going to take place?
Yeah, so I got some dates here. And like Jerry said, we are still waiting on some movies. We've pitched all of our movie ideas. There were a lot of votes that took place for that. But yeah, just waiting on licensing. But as soon as we have them, we'll release them. Our first one is going to be on Friday, June 7th. It's right after the Brewfest, which is at Centennial Park here in town. But we are going to be showing the movie at Wellington Community Park. Okay. So after everyone kind of enjoys Brewfest, we'll have a movie playing later that night. So feel free to join us for that first one. Then our next one is going to be Friday, July 18th. It's in conjunction with the Safe Routes to Schools event. I don't know if anybody in the community went last year, but they had cotton candy, so it was a pretty fun event.
That was good cotton candy,
It was a good cotton candy. And that turnout was really great, so we're hoping for the same turnout. That one will be at Centennial Park. So we'll have the main Safe Routes to Schools event, and then we'll put on a movie right after. And then the next one will be August 8th. That is also a Friday. And that one's in conjunction with Market on Main. And that is also located at Centennial Park. So we kind of have a little back-to-back with location. But come September and October, we'll be going over to like Viewpoint and then like Pirate Park as well. So
Okay. And what else should people know if they want to attend one of these movie screenings?
yeah, if you're planning to come out, be sure to bring your own chairs or a blanket so you guys can get comfy while you're watching your movies. We just have a quick reminder that we ask that you leave your pets at home. This is a permitted park event, and we are only allowing service animals. We also are hoping to have some local food vendors join us, so just keep your eye out on that. We'll send communication out as soon as we kind of get those more set in stone.
Great. Yeah, I think like you said, since COVID, these screenings have become really popular everywhere. So thank you to you and your team for bringing that here to Wellington. And like we mentioned before, you guys also have a pretty substantial list of summer sports offerings for children and adults. What are some of those options for residents this summer?
Yeah, so we have a whole handful. Summer's going to be pretty busy, but something to keep in note, we don't usually run a lot of our programs on the weekends, so you can still go and play outside. Right now, we have our summer registration open, so if you got kiddos from ages 4 to 9, we will have youth baseball, and then we will also have, for ages 9 to 15, we'll have youth soccer. And then if you're an adult or 16 and older, we do have adult softball running this summer, so if you kind of want to come play a fun recreational softball league, we will have that available. In addition to that, we're also partnering with Beck's Martial Arts for Taekwondo classes. Those are on Saturdays, but they're for youth and adults, and they're usually about an hour or less depending on your age group, and those will be held at the Leaper Center. So we're pretty excited to bring martial arts back to the community. And then if tennis is more your style, we do have tennis lessons available for both youth and adults, and that is going to be taught by Coach Kim. He's been with us for several years, so we're happy to bring him back. And then what's also back is yoga. So I know we took a little pause over the winter, but we are happy to provide yoga classes again, and we'll have that this summer. And yeah, so we definitely have something for everybody, and just keep your eye out for all the marketing.
Very cool. And what's the registration deadline for those summer programs, and where can people go to register?
Yeah, absolutely. So youth and adult registration for the sports will be closing on Sunday, May 11th. If you're looking into like tennis lessons, taekwondo, or yoga, those registration dates will vary. It kind of just depends on when those programs are running. And for example, yoga is a drop-in session, so you can either pay for the whole month and get a discount, or you can just pay by the morning or the day that you would like to go. And then you can go online through our recreation website, and you can register there online, or you can just give us a call because we're happy to do anything over the phone.
And just as a reminder to listeners, the URL for the recreation registration website, along with all the URLs we discussed during this episode, will be listed in the notes for this episode, so make sure to check that out after you're done listening. And moving on from summer sports, Parks and Rec has a lot of other things going on in the coming months too, including the local celebration of National Kids to Parks Day. What can residents expect if they attend that event?
For Kids to Parks Day, we've got a fun morning planned at Wellville Park. The event will kick off at 8 a.m. We'll have all of our inflatables and yard games set up for everybody to join in on. It's a great way to get outside and enjoy some fun activities for the whole family.
And that's the same day as the annual Kiwanis Fishing Derby, is that correct?
It sure is. The annual Kiwanis Fishing Derby also happens at Wellville Park the same day. So it's a really fun-filled morning with activities for everyone. So whether you're fishing or you're playing with all our games, it's just a great way to spend your morning.
Great. That sounds like a lot of fun, a full day of fun. Are there any other events or programs you want to tell people about?
Yes, I would love to tell people that our Try It Out series are coming back this summer. So for those who participated last year in our Try Out series, we did softball last summer, but this year on May 20th, we'll be hosting our Try It Out pickleball event. And basically what the Try It Out is, it's just a free event where we prep all the space, we provide all the equipment, and then it is a staff-run program where we can kind of help teach and instruct those who have never played pickleball before. So you kind of just get to play and see if you even like the sport before you invest into it. pickleball is huge, so you might enjoy it and then get into this hobby. But we have a pretty great pickleball community already within the town, and we're hoping to kind of see their faces come to the event and kind of help teach those who want to learn. And this is open for all ages, so it doesn't matter how old you are. We would love to just kind of get you involved with pickleball and see if you like it. The other event that we'll have later in the summer is we'll be hosting another Ultimate Frisbee night. Last year we played at the utility field at Wellington Community Park, and it was a lot of fun. It was disco themed. So yeah, we're excited to bring that back as well this summer.
Very cool. And this year, Wellington will also see some notable additions to our parks. Specifically, we have the dedication of a new accessible fishing dock coming up, as well as the opening of a new dog park, both out at Wellville Park, along with facility upgrades like new pour-in-place rubber surfaces at Wellington Community Park that were put in a couple weeks ago. And this is on top of the usual excellent cleanup and maintenance performed by the park staff. So Emma, as I know you're a recreation coordinator, and I don't want to put you on the spot with questions about facilities, but parks and open spaces play a big role in what people do in the summer here in Wellington. Is there somewhere residents can go to find out more information about the park facilities that they have access to?
Yes, absolutely. And I'd just like to take a second to thank our parks crew. Without them, we wouldn't be able to recreate outside in all of our wonderful spaces. If you're looking for information regarding our Parks and Recreation open spaces through all of our parks, you can refer to our website under Parks and Recreation. There is a list of all of our facilities and what's available to the community. You can also visit our calendar on our registration platform to check field reservations and to see availability of pavilions that are open for reservations for the community. Additionally, you can always check our social media for any closures or upcoming events, so it's a great place to check out for updates there as well. And then if you're out at the physical parks, you can refer to our kiosks. Those are usually posted around our diamond fields and our tennis courts. So if you're kind of just rolling up and you want to play outside, it's a great thing to refer to so you can see if someone's coming in or not. For example, you could see a practice coming in on WCP North from like 6 to 7:30 for like a baseball practice. So then you might have like an hour to play until they come in. Something to note, you might see yellow chains. That usually just means that a ball field has been prepped for a game or an event. So you might see that. So yeah, there's lots of ways to see what facilities and open spaces we have within the town. And then if you ever need updates, usually just check our social.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you both for joining me today to talk about what we have going on here in Wellington at the Public Library and with our Parks and Recreation Department. Before we go, I have one final question. Ross, we'll start with you. What advice would you give a Wellington resident looking to take full advantage of what the Wellington Public Library offers?
Well, first off, I would say, come in. People are constantly surprised when they come in when we have, new visitors. And on a weekly basis, we hear, this is a great library. We have a lot of services for our community. We have printing services, we have 3D printers, we have poster printers. As I mentioned earlier, as kind of the department that's open to the public 6 days a week, we are an information hub. Mm-hmm. So if you have any question about anything, about any other departments or any, come in, talk to us, call us. We're always there. We do provide a lot of reference for the town of Wellington. I also want to mention, we have a few new things. I think when patrons come in, they know they've gotten used to, I always have BBC News going behind me on the TV or Reuters, and I'm always listening to world news, how it will affect us and what we need to be, kind of aware of. We have noticed, our library in the last 4 years has become quite energetic, quite loud. We do have a lot of, it's not a typical library. It's not it's not Oxford where it's just quiet. So, but I did hear a blurb one day when I was working and, learned that 20% of people are extremely sensitive to sound. We do have headphones in the library. So we're kind of working on maybe having a day where it is known to the town that it's a quiet day. Thursday, it is a quiet day. Trying to honor, those people that really, really crave some silence. We do our very best. People have used my office before with the door closed to, have some quiet time. We don't have a lot of space. That's something we're working on. We're also kind of launching, I had a board presentation last night. We are working hand in hand with the Wellington Food Pantry, which is a big deal. Towards the end of the year, we usually do food for fines. Don't pay your fine, bring us food. We're going to start it now. There are a lot of hungry families.
Sure, yeah.
So we're going to do that. So we're always looking at new things.
Okay.
You know, it's always on my mind. We just do all the things. So come in, see us, and learn what a small rural library can really do.
Great. And Emma, same question for you and your department. What advice would you give a Wellington resident looking to take full advantage of what the Parks and Recreation is offering?
I would say get into that summer mindset early. I know spring just sprung, but summer is around the corner. We're really, kind of fast-paced over here, and the normal life is not that fast-paced. And so, just get in that mindset early. Make sure you mark your calendars. There's a lot of free events between the library, between us, between who knows what going around Northern Colorado. So it's mark your calendars. I think there's a lot of opportunity for everybody this summer, and I think it's really fun and exciting to see all the events happening. So I would just say get ready, mark your calendars, and have fun being involved with the community at all of our events.
Awesome.
If I could tag on that really
Sure.
quick, I just thought of when I was looking at your face and talking about it's quick. We're always moving and we're always like, okay, let's do that. It's to always reach out. We always tell reach out if we're missing something, if we're missing the mark. Sometimes I miss deadlines for my reporting line, my boss, because I sit down on the floor and talk to the kids. Like, what are you interested in? What are you passionate about? I'll let the other things drop, but always reach out to our departments if we're missing something. If there's a new sport. I mean, pickleball came out of nowhere for me. I'm like, what is this pickleball thing? But reach out,
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think, we're here for all of you.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of resources that we could be using and providing for the community. So if you notice something, just reach out, like Ross said. So
I think Wellington town staff are all really good at just kind of figuring things out, putting it together, and rolling.
Yeah.
We take chances, which is great. I think
we like to keep busy.
Yeah, it
Just add
creates
all on.
vibrancy in a town. Like, we're going to try this. It might fail, but we tried it.
Yeah, we tried.
Have we failed yet? I don't know.
Sometimes.
No.
It's
We'll have to
okay.
think about that. Maybe the next episode.
Yeah. It's just, steps along the way to your success. That's all it is.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank both of you for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
The Wellington Public Library is located inside the Leaper Center at 3800 Wilson Avenue in Wellington. The library is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. The library is closed on Sunday. More information on the programs and activities offered by the Wellington Public Library is available by stopping by the library during business hours, calling 970-568-3040 during business hours, or going to the library's website at wellington.colibraries.org. Residents can also follow the Wellington Public Library on Facebook and Instagram. More information about the programs and activities offered by the Wellington Parks and Recreation Department is available by calling 970-568-7410 during normal business hours, emailing recreation@wellingtoncolorado.gov, or going to the Parks and Recreation webpage, which can be found on the town's website at wellingtoncolorado.gov. Along with information, visitors to the Parks and Recreation webpage can access a link where they can register for programs and events 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Residents can also follow Wellington Parks and Recreation on Facebook and stay tuned for information on a new Wellington Parks and Recreation Instagram account later this year. In addition to providing recreation opportunities for thousands of residents each year, the Parks and Recreation Department also plays a big role in maintaining 86 acres of public land in the town of Wellington. That includes 10 public parks and 3.5 miles of trail. Information on Wellington's parks and trails, as well as all other town facilities, is available at wellingtoncolorado.gov/facilities. As a reminder, you can find all the links discussed here in the notes for this episode. Local residents looking for additional outdoor recreation opportunities this summer won't have to stray very far from town to find what they are looking for. There are a number of excellent options within a short drive of Wellington. Sitting just east of town is the Wellington State Wildlife Area, which consists of 3 units. The Wellington Unit, which is accessible from County Road 62, the Schwer Unit, accessible from County Road 60, and the Cobb Lake Unit, accessible from County Road 58. Wellington State Wildlife Area offers visitors the chance to hike, view nature, and, when seasonally appropriate, hunt and fish. Likewise, Smith Lake State Wildlife Area, which sits west of town at County Roads 66 and 11, and Douglas Lake State Wildlife Area, located west of Wellington off Lavina Drive near County Road 60, both also offer anglers the chance to cast a line. It should be noted, a valid hunting or fishing license, or a state wildlife area pass, is required for everyone 16 years of age or older to visit most state wildlife areas. Additionally, many state wildlife area units are subject to closures and restrictions throughout the year. Visitors should check current hunting, fishing, and land use regulations when planning to visit a state wildlife area. That information is available on the State Wildlife Area section of the Colorado Parks and Wildlife website at cpw.state.co.us. For those willing to drive a bit further, Soapstone Prairie Natural Area and Red Mountain Open Space lie to the north of town. Soapstone Prairie Natural Area, which is owned by the City of Fort Collins, is located at 22998 Rawhide Flats Road. It features more than 28 square miles of open vistas and nearly pristine grasslands, including miles of trails and other cultural resources. It is open to hiking, cycling, and, in some instances, horseback riding. More information about Soapstone Prairie Natural Area is available on the City of Fort Collins website at fcgov.com. Red Mountain Natural Area, which is owned by Larimer County, is located at 799 Red Canyon Road. It features 15,780 acres of open space, including 15 miles of multi-use trail and access to 2 adjacent protected areas. The trails in Red Mountain Natural Area cater to hikers, cyclists, and horseback riders. More information about Red Mountain Natural Area is available on Larimer County's website at larimer.gov. Finally, Wellington residents looking to support local artisans while enjoying the summer season will have the chance to do so at the Main Street Market. This year's market will run from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Fridays from June 13th to August 22nd. There is a special market planned for July 4th to coincide with the town's community celebration. The markets take place at Centennial Park, located at 3815 Harrison Avenue in Wellington. More information about the 2025 Main Street Market is available on the Wellington Main Street Program website at wellingtonmainstreet.org. That's all the time we have for this episode of Around the Well. Special thanks to Wellington Public Library Director Ross LaGenese and Wellington Recreation Coordinator Emma Adams for joining me to talk about what's happening in Wellington this summer. Remember to check the episode notes for links to the resources we talked about, and while you're there, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode about Wellington's 2025 July 4th celebration. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time on Around the Well.